The sky above Earth was calm that night. Stars shimmered faintly, and cities slept under the soft glow of streetlights. Then, without warning, a streak of bright light cut across the darkness, moving faster than any human plane or satellite. It crashed into a remote valley with a deafening roar, shaking the ground for miles. Humans rushed to the site. Emergency sirens screamed through the night as rescue teams arrived. When the smoke cleared, they found something that no human had ever expected. A spacecraft sleek and strange, unlike anything on Earth. Its surface shimmered with colors that seemed alive, flowing and changing like liquid metal. From the craft emerged beings unlike anything humans had ever seen. They were tall, thin, and luminous, with delicate limbs and eyes that glowed softly in the dim light. Their movements were smooth, almost ethereal, and every gesture seemed precise, careful, and intelligent. They looked around at the world with a mixture of curiosity and fear, clearly unaware of the rules and dangers of Earth. One of the aliens raised a hand, and a soft light radiated from its palm. It seemed to be trying to communicate, forming shapes in the air that looked like writing, but humans only saw movement. Misunderstanding struck instantly. Soldiers and scientists, thinking the light was a weapon, raised barriers and containment fields. The aliens froze. Confused, they took cautious steps backward. Their soft, melodic sounds filled the air, perhaps words or perhaps calls to each other, but humans could not understand. Fear grew on both sides. Lyran, a young human scientist observing from a safe distance, watched with wide eyes. "They're not attacking," she whispered. "They're scared, just like we are." But her words fell on deaf ears. Most humans at the site were focused on control and safety. The aliens were quickly surrounded by containment drones and barriers. It was clear, no one intended to let them go. The largest alien stepped forward, trying to show it meant no harm. Its glowing eyes scanned the humans, studying their reactions. For a moment, it seemed like understanding might bridge the gap, but then a loud alarm echoed from the human command center. Someone had interpreted a gesture as a threat. Instantly, the drones moved faster, encircling the aliens tighter. Lights flashed and energy fields shimmered in the air. The aliens hissed softly, stepping closer together. It was clear to them that Earth was not welcoming. It was a cage. Lyran's heart pounded. She wanted to help, but she was powerless among the military and scientists who were determined to contain the visitors. "They don't belong here," she muttered. "But neither do we, letting them suffer." As the aliens struggled to understand the situation, one of them activated a small device from its belt. A holographic map projected into the air, showing their home world, distant and vibrant, a place that humans could never reach. But the humans only saw a strange, glowing object, something unfamiliar and possibly dangerous. The commander barked orders. "Keep them contained. Don't let them move." The aliens exchanged glances, their glowing eyes reflecting worry and fear. One of them tilted its head and reached out to touch the holographic map, but the energy field stopped it instantly. A shock pulsed through the air, forcing the alien back. It was at that moment the aliens understood fully, Earth was not a safe place. The humans would not let them leave. They were trapped. Lyran's eyes filled with tears as she watched the aliens, realizing their intelligence and their vulnerability. "They came by mistake," she whispered to herself. "And now, they have nowhere to go." The night grew colder. The humans continued to study and monitor the aliens, ensuring their containment was secure. Meanwhile, the aliens moved cautiously, trying to understand the strange environment, the strange rules, and the strange creatures that had taken control of their freedom. Above them, the stars twinkled indifferently, unaware of the small group of stranded beings below. The aliens had traveled across space, only to be captured by fear and misunderstanding. They did not know if they would ever return home, or if Earth would ever allow them to leave. One alien made a soft, melodic sound, almost like a whisper carried on the wind. It was a question, a plea, a hope. But the humans could not hear. They could only watch and control and contain. Lyran felt a shiver run down her spine. The aliens were not dangerous, not yet, but the situation was tense. Any small mistake could escalate, any misunderstanding could turn into disaster. The night was far from over, and the story of these stranded visitors had only just begun. The aliens looked at each other, their glowing eyes reflecting worry and fear. They were trapped, far from home, surrounded by creatures who did not understand them. Yet, deep inside there was a spark of hope. A hope that one day Earth might see them not as prisoners but as beings deserving of freedom. And as the humans tightened their grip, the aliens prepared silently, waiting for the moment when they might find a way to survive, and maybe one day to escape. The aliens had been taken to a high-security facility far from the city. Towering walls, energy barriers and surveillance drones surrounded them. The humans called it a containment zone, but to the aliens it felt like a cage. Inside the facility, the aliens moved cautiously, studying every detail. Their eyes glowed softly in the dim light, scanning walls, floors and machines. Everything was strange, everything was unfamiliar. The air smelled different. The gravity felt slightly heavier. Every sound, from distant hums to footsteps, was amplified in their sensitive ears. Human scientists and soldiers monitored them from glass windows and control rooms. Cameras, sensors, and drones tracked every movement. Humans were nervous, afraid of what they could not understand. Lyran, the young scientist, watched silently from the control room, her heart heavy. "They are not dangerous," she whispered to her colleague. "They only want to survive. They don't understand our world, yet we treat them like criminals." Her colleague shook his head. "We can't risk it. We don't know what they can do. We have to control them until we understand." The aliens began experimenting cautiously, trying to communicate. They moved their hands in patterns, emitting soft pulses of light. One of them projected tiny holographic shapes into the air, attempting to show humans their intentions. But humans misinterpreted every gesture. What they saw as a warning, the humans read as a threat. Suddenly, lights flickered across the facility. Sensors went haywire. Drones whirred and shifted in odd patterns. The aliens had accidentally triggered some reaction, something humans did not anticipate. "This is impossible," Kale, one of the lead scientists, muttered. "None of the systems should react like this." The aliens paused, tilting their heads, trying to understand the humans' fear. They had no desire to harm, yet the humans' containment and mistrust made every move dangerous. Lyran felt a shiver. "They are trying to communicate, but we are not listening." Outside, the facility hummed with energy. Drones patrolled the walls, keeping watch. Yet strange things were happening. Lights in the nearby city flickered. Electrical systems malfunctioned without explanation. It was as if the aliens' presence, even contained, was affecting the world around them. The aliens huddled together, discussing silently in their glowing language. They realized Earth was not just unfamiliar, it was dangerous. Humans had power over them, and escape seemed impossible. But they were intelligent, patient, and aware. They would wait for the right moment. Meanwhile, within the facility, tension among humans grew. Some scientists like Lyran sympathized with the aliens. They saw intelligence, emotion, and fear in these beings. Others were strictly against any risk, fearing that the aliens could unleash unknown powers if allowed freedom. One night, as the facility quieted, a soft pulse of light escaped from the aliens' containment area. Cameras captured it, but the source was unclear. Alarmed, the humans rushed to investigate, only to find that nothing had changed. The aliens were still calm, still contained, yet somehow their energy had interacted with the facility. Lyran's voice trembled as she whispered, "They are not attacking. They are sensing. They are learning." Kale frowned. "Learning? What could they possibly learn? They are trapped here." But the evidence was undeniable. Machines shifted slightly, sensors adjusted themselves, and small anomalies appeared in the facility systems. The aliens' presence was not passive, it was alive, intelligent, and observing every move. The humans realized that containment alone would not be enough. The aliens could adapt, respond, and perhaps even manipulate the environment in ways no one could predict. That night, the aliens gathered together. Their glowing eyes reflected worry and resolve. They understood that humans would not release them easily. Escape was risky, yet staying indefinitely was not an option either. As the humans slept, the aliens quietly studied the energy barriers, the drones, and the strange devices controlling them. Every detail mattered. Every weakness mattered. And in the shadows of the containment facility, the first sparks of a plan began to form. The night was long and tension hung in the air. The humans believed they controlled the situation, but the aliens were patient. They had crossed stars and survived dangers far beyond human comprehension. Containment would not hold them forever. And somewhere deep in the facility, systems flickered again, as if warning the humans that the presence of these intelligent beings was not something to ignore. The aliens were stranded, yes, but they were far from powerless. The story of survival, conflict, and understanding had only just begun. Days passed in the containment facility. The aliens had grown accustomed to the strange environment but remained wary. They studied the humans closely, noting routines, patterns, and weaknesses. Every guard shift, every drone patrol, every sensor pulse was observed and memorized. At night, when most humans rested, The aliens whispered softly to each other in their glowing language. It was careful and deliberate, plotting a way to understand the humans better, and perhaps find a way to escape. Lyran, the young scientist, continued to watch them. She was fascinated and uneasy at the same time. "They are more intelligent than we imagined," she said to Kale during a quiet moment. "They are learning from us, from our mistakes." Kale frowned. "They may be learning, but they are still trapped. They can't leave." The aliens disagreed silently. Even in captivity they were clever, patient, and observant. One of them, slightly taller with brighter luminescence, approached the control console during a routine equipment check. Its movements were slow and precise, avoiding sensors, calculating timing. A soft pulse of light spread from its hand, interacting with the machine. The lights flickered, drones shifted, and alarms momentarily went off, but no human realized what had caused it. The aliens had tested the system without being detected. Later, a more daring plan began to take shape. They coordinated small actions, a subtle disruption of surveillance cameras, the careful manipulation of energy fields, and silent signals exchanged between them. Each move was calculated, yet invisible to the humans who believed they controlled everything. Then came the night of the first attempt. The taller alien glowed brighter, sending a soft signal to the others. The energy barriers wavered slightly, responding to the alien's presence. A door, normally locked, clicked for a split second. It was a small opening, but enough to reveal that the containment was not perfect. Lyran watched the cameras and noticed the anomaly. She gasped softly, heart racing. Something is happening, but what? Kale stormed into the control room. "Check all systems. Something is interfering." The aliens paused. The humans had begun noticing the subtle disruptions. But the aliens were careful. They withdrew immediately, resetting the systems to prevent detection. Their first attempt at escape had failed, but no one realized it. Inside the containment, the aliens regrouped. Their glowing eyes reflected worry, but also determination. "We cannot rush," the tallest one seemed to communicate. "Humans are cautious. We must learn more, wait for the right moment." Humans began increasing security. New drones patrolled, barriers strengthened, and sensors adjusted. Fear of the unknown drove them to act aggressively. Yet, the very presence of the aliens caused strange malfunctions. Lights flickered unpredictably, minor power surges occurred, and automated systems occasionally froze. Lyran whispered to herself, watching the aliens, "They are not just intelligent, they are alive in ways we do not understand. Containment will never be enough." The aliens huddled together, sharing silent energy pulses, discussing their next plan. Patience was key. They had survived unknown dangers across the stars, and Earth would be no different. Outside the facility, night fell. The city lights reflected faintly on the walls of the containment center. Drones hovered silently, unaware that the aliens had already begun adapting. The first test had failed, yes, but the humans had learned nothing about the aliens' capabilities. The aliens understood one truth clearly: even trapped, they were not powerless. They would wait, they would learn, and when the moment was right, they would act again. The humans believed they controlled everything. They were wrong. And in the shadows of the facility, subtle pulses of light flickered, signals invisible to human eyes. The aliens were already preparing their next move. The story of survival, cleverness, and tension between captor and captive had only begun. The first attempt had failed, but suspense was growing. The humans' control was fragile, and the aliens' patience was limitless. The facility had grown tense. Humans worked in constant vigilance, checking every sensor, monitoring every movement of the aliens. Yet strange things continued to happen. Lights flickered, machinery malfunctioned, and energy readings fluctuated inexplicably. The aliens were clearly more than they seemed. Lyran watched from the observation room, her heart racing. "They're doing something," she whispered. "But I don't think it's dangerous. They are trying to communicate, maybe even help us understand them." Kale shook his head. "Help us? They're trapped here. They should be contained, not trusted." The tallest alien, glowing brighter than ever, began projecting images into the air. Humans gasped at the holograms, strange symbols, glowing energy networks, and faintly moving diagrams of technology beyond Earth's knowledge. "They're showing us something," Lyran realized. "They want us to see, to understand." Daros, a senior commander at the facility, studied the projection with narrowed eyes. "This is advanced, far beyond anything we know. If they truly intended harm, we would already be at risk. This might be a message." The aliens continued their display. Images of their home planet appeared, A vibrant world filled with towering cities, flowing energy streams, and beings like themselves living in harmony. Then came images of their journey, their spacecraft navigating stars, and finally, the moment of their accidental arrival on Earth. Kale's voice was tense. They didn't come here to attack. They were stranded, by mistake. And now, they're trying to show us the truth. Lyran nodded, awe and fear in her eyes. They want to explain. They want us to understand, but we're so afraid of them that we don't see it. Outside the containment, strange occurrences intensified. Drones malfunctioned for no reason. Doors opened and closed on their own. Sensors detected energy spikes that no human technology could explain. The aliens' presence seemed to influence the facility itself. One young guard whispered to another, "Do you see that? The lights, the systems, it's like the building is alive." The aliens noticed the humans observing them closely. They projected sequences of patterns almost like a map showing hidden energy sources, safe zones, and systems the humans could interact with if they were willing to learn. The Rose spoke sharply. "We can't ignore this. They are giving us knowledge, but knowledge comes with responsibility. And we cannot risk misunderstanding it." The aliens pulsed gently as if responding to his words. Their glowing forms moved in harmony, demonstrating intelligence, awareness, and patience. Humans began to feel a mix of fear, wonder, and respect. But not all humans were ready to listen. Some scientists and soldiers saw the aliens' abilities as a threat. One faction argued for stronger containment, even harsher measures. Fear and suspicion grew. Lyran stepped forward, voice trembling. "They are trying to help us, to teach us. If we continue to see them as threats, we will lose more than just knowledge, we may lose the chance to understand them completely." The aliens paused. Their energy pulsed softly, acknowledging the humans who were willing to see beyond fear. But to those still driven by suspicion, the lights flickered ominously, a silent warning. That night, the tallest alien projected a final image, a distant star system, glowing with potential and a path that could return them home. But the pathway was blocked by the humans themselves. Only understanding and cooperation could open the way. The message was clear. They were stranded, yes, but the humans' actions determined whether they would remain trapped or find a way back home. Lyran's eyes filled with tears. They're not asking for freedom, they're asking for trust. Outside, the facility hummed with quiet energy, as if the building itself waited for the humans' choice. The aliens had revealed part of their secret. But suspense lingered. Would humanity respond with fear or with understanding? The answer would decide the fate of these stranded visitors. The story had reached a critical point. The aliens' intelligence, patience, and technology were no longer hidden. The humans had seen a glimpse of the truth, but whether they could act wisely remained to be seen. And in the quiet halls of the containment facility, a soft glow pulsed steadily, signaling that the aliens were ready, waiting for the next move, and for the humans to finally understand the consequences of their fear. The next day, tension in the facility reached a new height. Some humans had begun to respect the aliens, realizing they were intelligent and peaceful. But others saw them as a threat, and an opportunity. A small faction of scientists, driven by ambition, argued that the aliens' technology could give humans power beyond imagination. They wanted to study it secretly even if it meant harming the visitors. Their whispers spread like fire, filling the halls with fear and suspicion. Kale noticed it first. "Something is off," he said, scanning the control systems. "Data is missing. Someone has altered the containment logs." Lyran froze. Who would do that? And why? Theras's eyes narrowed. "Greed," he said quietly. "There are humans here who see the aliens not as life forms but as tools. That is more dangerous than anything the aliens could do." Meanwhile, the aliens observed quietly, understanding the humans better than the humans understood them. They saw fear, suspicion, and hidden agendas. Their glowing eyes reflected a mixture of caution and determination. That night, one of the ambitious humans attempted to tamper with a containment barrier. Their goal was simple: extract alien technology and claim it as their own. But the aliens were ready. The facility responded in unexpected ways. The lights flickered violently, alarms blared, and energy pulses knocked devices offline. The traitor human was thrown back by a sudden surge, landing hard against a control panel. Sparks flew and a low hum filled the room. It was clear. The aliens' presence affected everything, even the humans' technology. Lyran gasped. "They're stopping him. They're not attacking us, but they can defend themselves in ways we can't even imagine." Kale helped the fallen human to his feet. "We're lucky this didn't escalate worse. The aliens, They're more powerful than we realize. The incident caused panic among the humans. Some demanded harsher containment, fearing the aliens' abilities. Others argued for patience, saying that any aggression would only provoke a disaster. The Rose called an emergency meeting. We are divided. And division is dangerous. The aliens have shown they can protect themselves, and they are intelligent enough to act if provoked. We must decide, do we continue to fear or do we try to understand? The aliens, in their containment, pulsed softly, communicating with each other. Their glow was calm yet firm. They understood humans better than humans understood themselves. They had learned patience, observation, and strategy during their short time on Earth. Outside the containment, energy readings fluctuated unpredictably. Machines hummed and flickered. It was clear that even small acts of fear or greed could trigger consequences the humans had not foreseen. Lyran looked at the aliens, her voice trembling. They are showing us that every action matters. They're patient, but if we make the wrong choice, everything could go wrong. The tallest alien emitted a soft light, almost like a warning, pulsing through the containment. It was not aggressive, but it was firm. The humans watching felt a chill, realizing that the aliens were aware of every move, every hidden thought. The night was long and tense. The humans debated, argued, and feared, while the aliens remained calm, observing, learning, and preparing. Their patience was a warning. They could act if necessary, but for now they waited for humans to make the first real choice. The Rose finally spoke, voice heavy with decision. We cannot control everything. But we can choose how we respond. Fear and greed will only destroy us. Understanding may be our only chance. The aliens pulsed softly once more, acknowledging his words. Suspense hung thick in the air. Humanity's next moves would decide whether the aliens remained trapped, or whether a fragile trust could form between two very different species. Outside the containment facility, shadows shifted in the night. The aliens' presence continued to influence the world around them, quiet yet powerful, waiting for the humans to show wisdom, or to make a mistake. And in the facility's control room, Lyran whispered, "We are learning, but are we ready?" The story was reaching its tipping point. Fear, ambition, and intelligence collided, setting the stage for a confrontation that could change everything, for humans and for the stranded visitors alike. The facility had grown uneasy. Humans worked tirelessly to study the aliens, yet strange events continued to disrupt their efforts. Machines failed, lights flickered, and energy readings surged unpredictably. The aliens were patient, observing every action, learning, and subtly influencing the environment around them. Lyran paced the observation room, her mind racing. "They're trying to show us something bigger than we understand," she murmured. Kale frowned. "Show us or trick us? We still don't know what they're capable of." Inside the containment chamber, the aliens pulsed softly, their glowing forms flowing with an almost hypnotic rhythm. The tallest one stepped forward, projecting a complex holographic pattern into the air. Symbols, diagrams, and glowing maps filled the room. Humans watched in astonishment, but fear and suspicion clouded their minds. Suddenly, alarms blared. One of the humans who had tried to exploit the aliens' technology made a move toward the console, hoping to seize it. Instantly, the chamber reacted. Energy surged from the aliens' bodies, interacting with the facility's systems. Lights flickered violently, machines hummed loudly, and drones spun out of control. The humans stumbled back, thrown against a wall by a pulse of energy. Lyran gasped. "They're not attacking, but they're defending themselves." The aliens' glow brightened, illuminating the entire chamber. Their movements were deliberate, controlled, and intelligent. They had learned the humans' behavior and were using the environment to protect themselves without causing harm. The Rose barked orders. "Contain them. Now." But containment was no longer simple. Energy barriers fluctuated unpredictably, drones malfunctioned, and the humans struggled to regain control. The aliens had turned the facility into a living puzzle. Every action by humans produced a reaction, forcing them to think carefully before moving. Kale shouted to the team, "Step back. Don't provoke them further. They're testing us." Lyran realized something astonishing. The aliens were not just surviving, they were teaching. Every energy pulse, every subtle movement was a lesson in observation, patience, and respect. If humans acted recklessly, the consequences could be catastrophic. The traitorous scientist, trembling with fear, backed away from the console. I didn't know they could do this." The tallest alien projected an image of its home world into the room. Cities glowing with energy, rivers of light, and skies filled with stars. Then a path back to their home appeared, blocked by glowing symbols. Symbols representing humans' choices and understanding. The message was clear. The aliens could leave, but only if humans acted wisely. Cooperation, patience, and trust were required. Fear, greed, or aggression would trap them forever. The roast took a deep breath. We cannot control everything. But we can choose how we respond. Let us act with wisdom, not fear. The humans watched, stunned and silent. The aliens' calm yet powerful presence dominated the room. Outside, the city's lights flickered, machines hummed, and drones hovered uncertainly. The aliens had turned the facility into a delicate balance of observation, warning, and influence. Lyran whispered, "They've tested us, and we are failing in small ways. But we can still learn." For the first time, humans understood the stakes. The aliens were not prisoners, they were sentinels, teachers, and survivors. Every action taken within the facility had consequences that could ripple beyond the walls, shaping the future of humans and aliens alike. The night stretched on, tense and fragile. Both sides waited, aware that any mistake could escalate into disaster. And in the soft glow of the containment chamber, the aliens pulsed steadily, a silent message. Patience and understanding were the only paths to survival and freedom. The confrontation had begun, not with violence but with observation, choice, and the subtle power of intelligence. Humanity and the stranded visitors were locked in a delicate dance, and only the wise would survive it. The night hung heavy over the facility. The humans were exhausted, tense, and uncertain. Machines hummed with unstable energy, lights flickered, and drones hovered silently, their sensors alert. The aliens remained calm, glowing softly, their presence powerful yet patient. Lyran stepped forward, heart pounding. "We can't keep them trapped like this, not after everything we've seen. They aren't dangerous, they're intelligent. They're teaching us." Kale's voice was tight. Teaching, or testing. One wrong move and the consequences could be catastrophic. Inside the chamber, the tallest alien projected a final, brilliant hologram. Their home world, vibrant and alive, shone in detail. A glowing pathway stretched from the Earth to their planet, but the path was blocked by shimmering symbols. They represented humanity's choices: fear, trust, greed, understanding. The humans watched, realizing for the first time that the aliens' fate depended entirely on them. Every action, every decision mattered. Fear and greed could trap the aliens forever, or worse, trigger unforeseen disaster. Trust and understanding could open the way home. The roast took a deep breath. We must act wisely. Every decision matters. One mistake could destroy everything here, and perhaps beyond. The aliens pulsed softly, acknowledging the humans' presence. They had given everything: knowledge, patience, guidance. Now it was up to humanity to respond. One scientist, trembling, stepped forward. "We've been wrong, afraid, greedy. But we can choose differently. We can help."